JJ McCarthy, the NFL Draft's man of mystery.
Tonight, all new stories on the season premiere of Unsolved Mysteries.
Every year, some kid makes a ton of money for doing absolutely nothing. No, not Sam Bankman-Fried. It's actually a lot of work to scam people.
What's up, guys? I'm here with my boy Sam from FTX.
In every draft, there's an off-season riser. Their stock takes a massive upward surge after the football season and before the draft when no new football's played. Usually, that's not a good thing. Sometimes it's how a Christian Ponder becomes an early first-round pick. Other times it works out and you trade up for Patrick Mahomes, a guy who wasn't really on anyone's first-round radar during the 2016 college football season. Other times, it's Zach Wilson. This year, that man of mystery is JJ McCarthy, Michigan's national championship winning quarterback. Just months ago, he was a fringe first rounder who became a mid-first rounder who became a top 10 pick who might be a guy who goes top 5 if one team gets eager enough. He is the most polarizing quarterback in this year's draft, who doesn't also paint his nails. I'm going to tell you who JJ McCarthy is, what he's done, and why he's such an intriguing mystery for every team who needs a quarterback in late April. Going balls deep into JJ McCarthy. This is a punch. This is a chop, and today's episode is sponsored by Good Chop and my code Thatsgood120, which will get you $120 off your first 4 boxes. What's Good Chop? It's a box of meat that you can customize, which is then delivered to your home. I've been using Good Chop for so long that I had to get a bigger freezer to properly store all the meat I'm receiving. I like to always have the perfect cut on hand, and Good Chop provides 100% grass-fed, well-marbled cuts. All the meat is sourced in the US of A, and it never has antibiotics or added hormones. I feel like most months I just show you which steaks I grilled, because once again, how do you go wrong with a filet, a ribeye, or a strip? You don't. And I highly recommend their sides because they're so easy to make. I suggest the smashed red potatoes. This month though, I baked some wings for you, which I perfected a couple years ago. I've got the best wings, okay? And with their organic wings, always on hand, I made the only meat I love more than steak. So go to goodchop.com/YouTube and use my code That'sGood120 for $120 off your first 4 boxes. Are you fed up with your team's current system? Are their intentions good, but ultimately their current leader is missing the marks? Nobody seems to own anything, ultimately leading to a dystopian poverty franchise. Well, maybe you need a new leader, someone to overthrow these failing ideals. May I suggest McCarthyism, a new young leader here to bring wins for everyone in a football society where every man reaps the rewards of his hard work, and if they don't fall in line, they'll be blacklisted. McCarthyism.
If he openly declares himself to be a communist, we take his word for it.
All right, anyway, here's the first thing you actually need to know about JJ McCarthy. He's a winner. He's a winner. All he does is win, and not just at Michigan. Hailing from LaGrange, Illinois, McCarthy's first love was actually not football, but hockey. His freshman year of high school, when he gave up the puck to focus on football, he called it one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make.
Yeah, I had to make a really big decision on if I was going to stick with the hockey route or the football route.
If deciding between playing football or hockey is one of the hardest decisions you've ever had to make, you're living a very nice and comfortable life. But it was also probably the smartest decision he ever made. His sophomore year at Nazareth Academy, McCarthy led them to a state title in 2018 before transferring to IMG Academy in 2020 and winning the consensus high school football national championship. I do hope McCarthy becomes a Hall of Famer so NFL scouts start searching for quarterbacks who once played hockey like they did with all the basketball converts. Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates for the tight end position. That was fun. It made a ton of sense, though, for McCarthy to go to Ohio State, his favorite team growing up. They needed a quarterback to succeed CJ Stroud. And McCarthy could have been the guy. Unfortunately, Ohio State head coach lied to my fucking boyishly handsome face, according to McCarthy. I may have thrown in some profanities there. Ryan Day allegedly promised McCarthy that Ohio State wouldn't recruit a 2021 quarterback until the end of the summer, and then went back on that promise by signing Kyle McCord, who has since transferred out of Columbus. McCarthy said, quote, "I used to love them. Now I want to kill them," which perfectly sums up how I feel about Russell Wilson. Just kidding, it's more like Andy Reid. Retire, you son of a bitch. Retire. Credit to McCarthy, though, because he absolutely stuck to his word. He notched a 3-0 record against Ohio State, ending the Buckeyes' long history of dominating their rivals. McCarthy was more of a gadget player his freshman year, never starting in 2021, but by his sophomore season, he had beaten Cade McNamara for the starting QB job. Now, McCarthy was a winner in high school, and he was just as much a winner in college, completing his Michigan career with a record of 27-1. He threw 44 touchdowns and just 9 picks since becoming the starter, and 5 of those interceptions came in just 2 games. His record is unimpeachable, except for one glaring question. How much did he really have to do with all of that winning? At this point, he is a college football Hall of Fame game manager. He's the greatest quarterback prospect Alex Smith has ever seen, okay? In the last 2 years of the Jim Harbaugh era at Ann Arbor, Michigan, they were a powerhouse. Their offensive line was, if not the best, top 3 in the country each of McCarthy's years in college. Their running attack was dominant, led by future 2024 draft picks Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. When he did throw the ball, McCarthy had a couple of future pros to throw to in Roman Wilson and tight end Colston Loveland. Here are some of his stat lines from 2023. 8 of 13 for 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. That was a win against Bowling Green. 12 for 16, 156 yards, and 2 touchdowns against Nebraska. 7 completions and 8 attempts for 60 yards and a win at Penn State. That is an NFL level Tim Tebow stat line if I have ever seen one. And finally, in the Natty Championship against Washington, 10 for 18, 140 yards and the win. There were times where he just didn't have to do much. Can you hold that against him? As a Broncos fan who just wants to see a quarterback come in and throw it for over 300 yards and win, yes, I can. As a level-headed football viewer, no, not really, but it makes scouting him very difficult. It's the same type of leap of faith a man or woman marrying a virgin has to make. You're committing to this person for a very long time, and you don't even know if they can fuck good. And what if after you have sex, they develop some weird fetish, like fumbling?
You know, you're an advocate for saving yourself to a marriage. I was wondering what you think, if you have any advice for Russell Wilson.
Now, a lot of his college throws were pretty easy. The run game was so tough and effective that play action became kind of a cakewalk for the Michigan offense, and the numbers show it. According to Pro Football Focus, McCarthy was the highest graded college QB on play action passes last year with a rating of 92.9. A lot of that is a result of his plus athleticism and ability to throw on the run. And I think after the combine, you can see he's a little more athletic than we gave him credit for. The guy can really move. It's not just the result of a perfect scheme. In terms of his transition to the NFL, my first thought is, I hope he goes to a team that both runs the ball well and commits to running the ball through the course of an entire game. Some people don't have a problem with the small sample size. Look, ladies, size just isn't everything, okay? ESPN's Matt Miller spoke to an NFL scout who said JJ McCarthy would be Joe Burrow if he were on a team that threw the ball. I get that a little bit, but that's not really a player comp. It's just using your imagination, which admittedly is a huge part of scouting. It's like me saying Tom Brady would have been an NFL journeyman if the Browns drafted him instead of Spurgeon Wynn. McCarthy's own coach at Michigan, though, Jim Harbaugh, said this about McCarthy.
Just the way it attacks with enthusiasm unknown to mankind. Always happy, always positive, he's energetic.
Just kidding. That was Jim Harbaugh talking about SpongeBob SquarePants.
Who's the other guy? Squidward.
Squidward.
Yeah.
No, not a fan.
Here's what he really said about McCarthy.
Right here, this is the greatest quarterback in University of Michigan college football history.
Now that's pretty high praise. Saying he's the best quarterback for a school that had a pretty special guy playing quarterback in the late 90s, maybe you've heard of him. Yeah, his name was Brian Griese, and he dominated there. Now, I'm not going to question Harbaugh, but if he thought JJ was that good and their offensive line was that elite, why not let the kid grip it and rip it just a little bit more? And you might think that's the highest praise a QB from this draft class is going to get, but it's not. My favorite scouting report was from JJ's Michigan teammate, linebacker Mike Barrett, who said, JJ will throw a ball out of his butt.
Can't sleep on him when you think he's down, or you can't, he'll throw a ball out his butt for real, like one of them. Like
throw a ball out of his butt. Personally, I think it's quicker to use your arm, but to each their own. And wait, actually that reminds me that I made a huge mistake in a previous video. In my quarterback draft video, the major flaws for every QB draft prospect, I said Caleb Williams could throw the football out of his butt. He's literally shot a football out of his asshole to a receiver and it counted for a touchdown. Clearly, I was confusing him with JJ McCarthy and I apologize for getting that wrong. I will be better moving forward, specifically with anything butt related. If I make another butt mistake, just fucking fire me, guys. I get it, we all make mistakes, but I am thoroughly embarrassed I got that one wrong. Whew. All right. Even though JJ won 27 of his 28 starts, those 28 are the fewest of the quarterbacks projected to go in the top 100 this year. Of course, we're comparing him to players like Michael Penix, Spencer Rattler, and Bo Nix, the FDR of college quarterbacks. Those guys have all of the experience in the world. So if you can't figure out those guys, it's on you. McCarthy is subject to projection. Hence the gamble. The flip side of that is while those guys are old enough to rent cars, McCarthy is barely able to drink legally, so you can invest a lot more time and development into him in the NFL. Despite his age, McCarthy does seem like a pretty mature guy, possibly even more mature than his own father. He was pretty calm under pressure this season, and when he did see pressure in games, calm still, like in the Rose Bowl against Alabama, and you might be able to attribute that to his pregame warm-up. McCarthy meditates for 30 to 40 minutes in the morning, and you've probably already seen him meditate in front of the goalposts before Michigan games. It stems from McCarthy's senior year at IMG Academy when he started to feel depressed.
I just kept stemming further and further away from myself and, my true nature. And I feel like I was in a deep rut for about, a month or two. And I was like, something's got to change. Like, this isn't who I am. And I started looking up different practices to help improve mental health. And meditation was the first one that kept popping up. And I just gave it a try. And then the rest was history.
McCarthy is a good vibes kind of guy. He listens to reggae and named his dog Marley. We get it, dude. You smoke a lot of weed. Very cool. Personally, I avoid meditation for my mental health. The last thing any of you want is me being left alone with my thoughts. Now, McCarthy, though, classic Gen Z, right? Am I a little surprised that anyone with his haircut has ever had a moment of deep introspection? Yes, I am. But I like that this is part of his game and his identity. I'm really just jealous that he has 30 to 40 minutes of free time in the morning. But if it works, it works. You could see it against Alabama, especially on that last drive of the fourth quarter for Michigan. McCarthy converted on 4th and 2 to stay alive, then found Roman Wilson to get the Wolverines inside the 5. Mental toughness and situational toughness are tough things to evaluate. But as I pointed out in the draft quarterback video, McCarthy is statistically the best quarterback on third down by a huge margin in this draft class.
The third down, success isn't because of me. It's because of, the game plan going into the week, the offensive line, like you said, holding up, and, the receivers making the catches. 'Cause I'm so
There's this old NFL cliche, quarterbacks make their money on third down, and if that were literally the case, McCarthy would be drafted #1 overall and immediately given a real contract instead of that rookie pay scale poverty scam the NFL currently runs, which is another reason you should support McCarthyism. Rookies are on communist pay scales and nobody has the balls to say it. But you can still ask the question, how much pressure does he really feel? If he was playing for, say, South Carolina, like Spencer Rattler, or for a team whose defense was consistently folding like Caleb Williams' defense at USC, how would he have responded in those situations? Does the meditation help you only if you have a clean pocket and Blake Corum behind you? Or does it also work when shit really hits the fan? I'm not knocking the practice. I think it's cool. I just don't have enough evidence for how he operates within the structure of chaos. And the NFL is chaos. Specifically, when you end up at the QB position selected early in the first round. We're talking typically about teams that aren't all that stout up front and will probably require shootouts to win. There's no Michigan in the NFL. That kind of disparity in talent just does not exist on the highest plane of football. But let's talk about where he might end up at the end of April. In Mel Kiper's latest mock draft for ESPN, McCarthy falls down to number 12, or yeah, he's taken by the Denver Broncos. The cool thing about the Broncos is they are picking at 12, but have a roster that's worthy of a top 3 pick. So the chaos will be waiting for JJ at 12.
It was awesome. You know, Coach Payton's energy, Coach Webb, Coach Lombardi. It was just really great to be in that room with them and go through tape. It was honestly a really fun time. So it was a blessing to just, you know, pick their brains a little bit.
Personally, I am all in. I will take JJ McCarthy in a heartbeat. But for his sake, I hope he goes somewhere better. Now, Mel Kiper wrote that he has an intriguing skill set as a passer. He will test extremely well during combine workouts. He did and impressed coaches and front office execs in interviews. He wasn't asked to carry the Wolverines with his arm the past 2 seasons, but that doesn't mean he couldn't do it. Pretty much what I've been saying all along, so thanks for the credit, Mel. What Mel didn't predict is JJ McCarthy missing this one easy throw and then everybody shitting on him for it. Didn't see that one, did you, Mel? Of course, Kiper only has McCarthy listed as his 23rd best prospect on his big board, so this would technically be a reach at 12. But as we know, you can never reach on a franchise QB. If you get your quarterback, you're not worried about who you passed up on at edge or tackle or anywhere else. It's irrelevant. I don't value combine accomplishments too highly, but if you're talking about JJ's ability to deliver the ball with juice at the NFL level, he did clock the 2nd hardest throw at the combine, and for a prospect like JJ, that probably helps, considering his passing sample size is smaller than Kenny Pickett's hands. Having zip on your ball is necessary for those tight windows on-time throws in the NFL. Garrett Pottle from CBS Sports has McCarthy going off the board 4 picks earlier, predicting that the Patriots will trade down to 8 and select another Michigan quarterback. Yeah, good luck having him throw to nobody. Now, a lot of people think the best case scenario for McCarthy is to go somewhere he does not have to start right away. Somewhere he can learn on the bench behind an established veteran. I get that, I really do. But maybe the best case for a guy who's lacking experience and vital reps in college is to get out there right away, or at least close to it. I think he does make sense in Denver, he really does, but he might not even make it down to 12. And the Broncos just don't have a lot of extra capital to deal up to get him. I think Atlanta could be a really good situation for McCarthy, throwing to some terribly talented players like Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and having a security blanket next to him in Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algiers, and maybe the Falcons end up with Justin Fields, but if they don't, they're picking at 8, which seems to be prime McCarthy real estate right now that his stock has jumped up to. Don't count out the Giants at 5 either, who, don't get it twisted, do need a quarterback, and even the Minnesota Vikings at 11 are all candidates for JJ McCarthy. Speaking of candidates, did I take the time to tell you about McCarthyism?
One communist on the faculty of one university is one communist too many.
Oh yeah, I did. If the Vikings signed back Kirk Cousins, McCarthy is still in play for them. They just watched what the Packers did. Cousins, great mentor, but he's getting old, but he gives McCarthy the time to develop. How did McCarthy's stock jump so quickly? I started the video talking about it, so I will answer it right now. Actually, I'll let Dane Brugler from The Athletic answer it because he'll do it better than I can. He said, McCarthy has projectable physical tools with an NFL arm and an above-average mobility. Scouts consistently bring up his intangibles as a strong selling point for their coaches because of his retention, recall, and competitive toughness. So he's smart. I don't think that's all the scouts love about McCarthy. I think they love him because he's a big swing. If you're a scout and you bang the table for this QB, and he works out, you look really, really smart getting that right.
Perhaps you may be able to help solve a mystery.
You look like the guy with the crystal ball who can evaluate a kid based on 22 attempts a game for 2 years. You don't look smart for taking Bo Nix or Michael Penix, who have more reps on film than Martin Scorsese. He's a career-defining pick for a lot of these guys, and I think everyone wants a chance to be the guy who can say, I told you so. And quite honestly, I think he fits the Brandon Beane philosophy in this draft.
I mean, we got criticized a little bit for how much we gave up for Josh. And I'm like, well, if he doesn't work out, I'm not going to be here anyway. And if he does work out, nobody's going to give a shit.
And there are a handful of teams ready for the Red Scare 3 in McCarthyism. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here. Don't forget to thumbs up this video. I just had a meeting with YouTube and they said thumbsing up the video is still very, very helpful. So do it and subscribe and then watch another video. They like that too. If you watch 2 of my videos in a row, YouTube starts to get real hard for That's Good Sports.